Big news today as Fox has released a completely new cross-country race fork with a rear-facing arch weighing less than 1300 grams and a new range of fork dampers. Its previous FIT4 and Grip2 dampers have been replaced with 3 new formats: Grip SL, Grip X and Grip X2. That means we have one family name, yep, 3 different damper models. But what even is a damper and why should you care? And why has Fox even bestowed the new 32 step cast with a reverse arch anyway? Let's take a look. While the new dampers are found across the entire Fox fork range and kind of mimic the naming conventions of Fox's Rockshox, there's no doubt the reverse arch design of the all-new 32 step cast cross-country fork is going to get a lot of attention and raise some questions. The brace or arch between the lower legs faces backwards, like Manitou forks and Fox's own 32 taper cast gravel fork. Fox claims it's gone down this route to create the ultimate lightweight fork for marathon and cross-country racing, while improving stiffness over the previous 32 step cast. It certainly looks pretty wild, especially in the limited edition gold colourway, which is being introduced across the range to celebrate Fox's 50th birthday. What do you think of the reverse arch? Do you think we'll see it on more Fox forks in the future? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments, I'd love to read your opinions. Numbers time and more on that arch. Fox calls the design rear arch matrix and the result is a claimed 40% increase in stiffness and a weight of under 1300 grams. Cross-country racing is all about the tiniest of margins, and to hit that incredible claimed weight of just 1287 grams, Fox has really gone to town. Along with the rear arch matrix lowers, weight is claimed to be saved from the new Grip SL damper, Cabot SL axle, double-butted stanchions, ultralight steerer tube, a stiffer but lighter crown, and finally a super light brake cable guide. They may seem like small gains, but they all add up. The biggest weight saving comes from that new Grip SL damper, so let's take a deep damper dive. As always with suspension, this is complicated, so I'll try my best to break it down as best I can. The outgoing FIT4 damper was a lighter closed bladder cartridge system that provided 3 on-the-fly compression damping positions: open, medium and firm, with additional low-speed compression adjustment in the open mode. It could also be operated with a handlebar mounted remote. Grip 2 offered more adjustment and better damping control, but was heavier and worked differently. Instead of an expanding rubber bladder, it used a spring-backed internal floating piston or IFP to allow for oil expansion. Right, I hope you're still with me, so let's move on to the new dampers. For 2025, all of Fox's dampers move over to the Grip architecture with that spring-back piston. Starting with the Grip SL in the 32 step cast, this keeps the 3-position adjustment of FIT4 but does away with the adjustable low-speed compression. Despite the supposedly heavier damper construction of adding a spring-backed IFP, the Grip SL damper is a claimed 60 grams lighter in 100mm travel format than the previous FIT4 damper. Impressive stuff, especially as Fox claims it gives riders better control and a firm lockout for hammering the pedals. It still has a smooth blow-off force though to reduce rider fatigue when you hit a bump when the fork is locked out. All sounds pretty ideal for a lightweight cross-country fork, doesn't it? You'll find the Grip SL damper in the previously covered new 32 step cast as well as the existing 34 step cast and 32 taper cast chassis, with or without a handlebar remote lockout. While Fox doesn't specifically say this, we'd imagine it would be ideally suited to the Float SL rear shock on full suspension bikes. We don't have a 32 step cast yet, but one is on the way, so make sure you're subscribed to the channel to hear our thoughts on it very soon. Next up is Grip X, and like the Float X rear shock, this claims to bring more adjustment, traction and predictability than the lighter Grip SL. You'll find the Grip X on Fox's regular 34, 36 as I have here, and 38 forks. Worth noting that aside from this lovely gold colourway, there are no changes to the physical chassis of these forks. They remain the same as last year, but are fitted with the new damper. Grip X brings both adjustable high and low speed compression adjustment to the table alongside low speed rebound. You still get a firm mode as well, but unusually this is accessed via the high speed rather than low speed adjustment dial. The final click of the high-speed compression adjust dial engages the firm mode, so you can quickly dial it in before turning it back to your preferred high-speed setting for normal riding. This does sound a bit more complicated than simple on-off climb switch, and from my brief time with this fork, this might be a little bit tricky to do on the fly. There's not a lot of space in between each of the 14 clicks, though in practice it's not often I actually use the firm mode on forks anyway. No doubt I'll find out for sure with more time on it. Whether it works well on the trail remains to be seen, but there is a 120 gram weight saving over the new Grip X2 damper, despite Fox claiming that this one offers similar traction, control and predictability. Think of this as a supposedly higher performance version of FIT4, so it will be interesting to see how it feels in this 36, because in my mind it's ideally suited to the 34 chassis rather than the burlier 36 and even more so the 38. Which brings us very neatly onto the big daddy damper of the trio, the Grip X2. Like Fox's DHX2 and Float X2 rear shocks, the Grip X2 damper is the most descent focused in the lineup. Fox claim they sought the level of tunability found in their motocross and supercross racing suspension and say the result is the smoothest, most tunable and supported mountain bike fork damper it's ever created. Compared to the older Grip 2 damper, it has a wider 22mm base valve with 23 valves in it. That sounds pretty complex, but these valves control the flow of oil within the damper, giving you the support and traction suspensions should provide. This marks a step up from the older 20mm version with 7 valves, resulting in a quicker response to bumps, increased sensitivity and extra tunability. Yes, as I've already said, that sounds pretty complex, and it is. But, and this is absolutely no surprise at all, the takeaway here is your suspension should work better, sitting higher in its travel while sticking the tyre to the ground for increased traction, control on the limit and increased rider confidence. As with the older Grip 2, the new Grip X2 damper still has 4-way adjustability with high and low speed compression and rebound circuits. Given its descent-orientated bias, it's no surprise to see this damper fitted to the 36, 38 and 40 forks, covering everything from heavy-duty trail to downhill bikes. Interestingly though, there will also be a 34 available with Grip X2, but only fitted to bikes as OEM equipment, rather than being sold aftermarket. As with last year's forks, Fox is sticking with its Performance, Performance Elite and Factory naming convention, covering a range of price points. Entry-level performance forks will still use the old standard grip damper with a 3-position sweep adjustment low-speed compression dial. If you want the new dampers though, you'll need the Performance Elite or Factory models. These are easily identified by the gold Kashima coated stanchions on range top and factory forks and black stanchions on the mid-range Performance Elite. Now I say mid-range and entry-level, but before you say it, that's in the context of Fox's range rather than suspension forks in general. And yes, as you'd expect, this new technology doesn't come cheap. I'll put the UK pricing in a chart in front of my face now, as we don't have US pricing at the time of filming. But the basics is you'll be forking out over £1,000 for any of these forks equipped with new dampers. That is a serious amount of cash, but don't forget, if you can't stretch that far, there is the cheaper Fox Performance Series forks with the regular grip damper. Also, given the chassis on the 34, 36, 38 and 40 are unchanged from last year, you'll be able to buy the new dampers separately aftermarket, so in theory at least, you can upgrade your existing forks. Good news for those of you with an already great fork, you can now make it even better without a huge outlay. The newer 2025 model forks though do come with new bushings, and the grip damper has received a retune to help eke out even more performance from this classic and much loved unit. Mountain bike suspension has come a long way since the early days, and the new Fox range seems to bring some minor improvements at first glance. Time will tell if they offer a truly comprehensive step up, and we'll be putting this 36 and the new 32 Stepcast through their paces to find out. In the meantime though, let me know your thoughts. I think I can guess the answers already, but do you think Fox's pricing has stretched a little too far? Do you like the reverse arch and the new limited edition gold colourway? Hit me up down in the comments, give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it or found it useful, and if you want to see what we think of key rival Rockshox's latest offerings, then check out this video.